All right, guys, welcome back. We are on day 2 of our graphic art project, Cartoon Yourself. So as of right now, you should have you're into the account, into Pixlr E. You've logged in and signed up, so that has your name at the top, so it saves everything. That's going to be important. Another thing to recognize too is if you switch devices, you might not, even though you've signed in under your name, you might not actually see your work there. So stick on the same device that you plan on using throughout this. That's going to help save you a headache or two. Anyway, so we want to make sure that we are in, we're signed in, we've got our name up at the top of Pixlr E, and then we've got that picture from yesterday. So that's where we left off. A couple of quick side notes, housekeeping things, just to make sure we're all on the same page. Did you record your time in your art journal yesterday? Remember at the beginning of the semester, we said to bookmark that because we're going to be going into it every day. So make sure if you didn't yet, go to that bookmark where you have your art journal and put in day 1, however many minutes you worked yesterday, including your class time. If you haven't yet bookmarked it, it should be in your Google Drive as long as you did that when we did that together in class. And then, like I said, I would bookmark it. So make sure you have that done. Another thing is you'll notice that for tomorrow, it says for tomorrow, you're going to need your Chromebook, colors, so crayons, markers, color pencils, oil pastels, whatever you got. I know we don't have our supplies yet, that's okay. But make sure you have some colors. And then we also have a sheet that is in your art supply bin, but you know what? We haven't gotten them yet, and it'll be still a little bit of time. So what you're going to do then is simply click on this link. Remember, you can click on everything right in Buzz. But click on that sheet and print it for tomorrow. Now, if you don't have access to a printer, you don't have a library nearby, there's not one in your home, I've got some backup solutions. You could always just kind of recreate this onto a loose leaf piece of paper or a piece of computer paper, whatever you've got. Another option technically would be, I mean, the coloring part isn't the important part, it's that you're understanding the color theory, but you could do file and make a copy so that you could then just color it in with like the fill bucket, right? So that would be an option as well if you don't have access to a printer. But the easiest way is going to be to just print it if you can, okay? So those I think are my 2 housekeeping things I just wanted to make sure I didn't forget within this video. All right, so what's our goal for next class? By the end of next class, we want to have something that looks like this. So you can see that half of my picture has a line through it that I just sort of drew. And then you can also notice that it's got like contour lines, right? So a contour line is the line that's going to divide like one area from the next. So there'd be a contour line around my ear here, right? And one even inside for those little ridges in the inside. One for my earring. There'd be one outlining my whole face from my hair. Those are all contour lines. Maybe my eyebrow and my eye. So drawing lines are not straight, right? They're not rigid. They're doing the contour of whatever that shape is. So you can see that here in the fish, right? Here's the fish's mouth, the eye, some of the gills that kind of stood out. This big gill for the fish here, little fin down there. My hand, you can even see I did some of the wrinkles on my knuckle, if you're looking close there. So that's what we want to at least get a start on for tomorrow. If you don't finish all the contour lines by tomorrow, we will have some class time for that. But noticing even the background too, right? The boat, I've done the contour lines for all of these separate parts, these separate images within this. So drawing contour lines around everything, basically outlining. Okay, that's what we're doing. When I say contour line, basically we're outlining everything. So that's what we want for tomorrow. So let's see, how do we do this? How do we make this happen, right? So I have my picture up in Pixlr E from yesterday. I just opened it when I was in my account. And you're noticing right now that you probably on your right-hand side, you have these 3 panels, navigate, layers, and history. Now, if you don't, if you're like, I don't see those 3, it's easy to get to. No worries. You're just going to come up here where it says view and click on navigator panel, layers, and history, and they will pop up over there. Okay, so if you don't see them, just add them. You're good. But with my background image, the first thing that I want to do is make it accessible. You can see right now it's locked. I can't do anything to it. So I'm going to first unlock it by clicking this button here. And now that lock turned to an eyeball. So now I can manipulate it. But here's the thing. Have you ever like done artwork and it didn't quite turn out the way you wanted to and you wanted to erase it, but then the paper got kind of destroyed because you can see like those ghost lines and the eraser marks and it doesn't look so great? Wouldn't it be great if there was like a clear coating on top of it, like almost like a transparency paper, where if you're like, ooh, I don't like how that turned out, psh, get rid of that, and the original layer is still perfect? Wouldn't that be great? Because in Pixlr E, it's possible. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Right now, I don't want to manipulate my background layer. I want to keep that perfect and pristine. So I'm gonna come up here where it says layer, and I'm gonna add a new layer. And do you see how that layer is now on top? So it's background layer, and then on top of it, it says layer 2. So basically, what that's doing is adding like a piece of transparency paper over the top. Anything I do to this will change the image, but if I decide to take it away, it's not gonna remove or ruin anything on that original image. Fantastic, right? Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually just rename it. It's just good for organizing, okay? So I'm gonna call it Outlines and hit enter. So I just right clicked and then renamed it to Outlines, okay? And you can see that my outline layer is in fact on top of my background layer. You can switch these around, but for this instance, we don't wanna do that. We want outline layer on top, okay? We're going over the top. So, all these instructions, just as a reminder, are going to be in here, but I'm just gonna kind of go through them. If you like reading the directions, go on into the slide, you can read them too. But I'm just gonna kind of show you what we're doing. Okay, so now that we've got that new layer, and yes, I am on the layer, the next thing I wanna do is to draw a line. It can be a black line, a white line, whatever you want, whatever you think is going to work best for your image. And it's going to depend on the colors you have in your image. But this is the draw tool. I'm going to really quickly, I'm going to actually move me on out of here because I want you guys to be able to see everything that you need to see. So we're going to just shrink me and put me on the other side. Hey guys, I'm over here now. How's it going? Anyway, so we've got the draw tool. I think it's kind of silly because it looks like a paintbrush. I'm like, okay, probably should have had a pencil there for a draw tool, but they didn't ask my opinion when they were building this website, so I don't know. Anyway, click on the draw tool. Up here, it says the brush is 40. Do you see that? That's what it's going to default to, and you can kind of see it's a soft line, not a harsh line. Also, the color that's sitting on top here is black. So if I want to switch, I can switch it to whatever color's on bottom, or if I don't like that, maybe I want it to be a white line. I just clicked on the circle and I move it on up and hit OK. So now see how it's a white line? Now it'll be a black line. Whatever color is on top, that's what we're going to see. I'm going to stick, actually I'll do the white line. I think that's going to be easier for you guys to see in the screen here. So I'm going to do that. So basically, what I am going to do is I'm going to click on this. Remember I said 40 is going to be too big and the softness is too soft. I'm going to show you why real quick. That's what that looks like. That's no good. We don't want that. And you can actually, if you look over here, do you see how you can see it on the outline layer? I don't want that, so I can either go to edit and undo, or notice you could also just hit Control Z and it will undo it. So I'm going to lower my the size under 10. Okay, so I'm going to start, maybe try 4. I like to bring the softness and the step down to 0. I don't like it when it's kind of got the blurry, fuzzy edges. Personal preference, you guys play around with what you like. So let me try this now that I've got that. Oh, that's a much better size line. Okay, now I don't know that I want it exactly there, but basically your next step then is going to be from one side of your page to the next, and it can be a straight line, zigzag line, swirly twirly line, however you want to do it. But go ahead and cut your image kind of in half, like that, okay? So I chose to do kind of a wavy line for mine. So we've got our image cut in half in some way, fashion, or form. Next up, I'm just going to draw those contour lines. So I am going to zoom in a bit here. So I'm just hitting Control plus to zoom in because I want to get really nice and close. I'm going to hit my space bar, and that's going to give me the ability to drag it around. So I'm hitting the space bar and then dragging it. So now when I zoom in really, really close like this, it's going to be much easier for me to follow those lines. Now if you're finding like, oh my goodness, nope, actually that line is too big. Bummer. Okay, so maybe we bring that brush down to even smaller. Maybe we do like a 2 or a 1. Up to you guys. Once again, you can kind of play around, and it might be different sizes for different parts, but basically I'm drawing those contour lines and I'm dividing up those spaces. So I'm going to kind of do like this chunk of hair. I'm not doing a perfect job here, but maybe like that chunk of hair, that's in one section. So we always want to close that full amount, that full line, because we are going to be coloring this in. So like for example, if you see, let's zoom in even more. Do you see how right here it's not closed all the way? Can you see how there's like a little gap? It will flood. When we get to that portion, it's going to flood. So I want to make sure, as much as I can today, that I am closing all of those lines on in so that it won't flood when we get to filling all this stuff in, okay? So I'm going to take my time. I'm going to zoom in and zoom out and do what I got to do, but I'm going to make all those contour lines happen. And once again, if you don't get to all of them today, we can work on this again tomorrow too. Couple quick reminders for tomorrow. I want to make sure that whenever we're finishing this, it should save automatically in Pixlr E, but just in case, we're going to go to File and we're going to save it and move that into your art folder. Okay, but we got to back up just in case. But it should save automatically, but I like to have a backup plan. All right, so we're going to save it. Other things we want to remember is we're going to come on into day 2, and we're going to put our time that we've worked, for sure the 30 minutes from class time, and then however much time we've worked on it outside of class. Remember, our goal is that an average of an hour a day, 30 minutes of class time, 30 minutes of work time. And then don't forget, if you can, to print the sheet off for tomorrow, have that ready to go, as well as stuff to color in, because we're going to be talking about color theory tomorrow as well. All right, you guys, can't wait to see how these are turning out. Have a great rest of your day.